So with that in mind, that's it. That's pretty much everything we needed to talk about in the podcast. We can now go into the Formula One World
Ranking.
Championship over here and then
All
start
right.
ranking all the drivers.
All right.
Uh,
I'll
so we
try.
can start from the
All
top
right.
of the list.
All right. I'll try not to
You
make
give
it
me
too
your
long.
rankings.
All right. Let's start with Leclerc. Leclerc,
Charles Leclerc.
easily 5 out of 5. Had the best weekend imaginable. You can't ask for better from a driver, from a weekend, from a car.
Carlos Sainz.
Science. It's difficult because we talked about how much he struggled, and it's kind of hard to gauge how much it was him, how much it was the car. At the end of the day, I think the incident that like led him to be out of the race was his fault. He overestimated and he was not driving, not thinking correctly, in my opinion. I'm gonna give him a 1.5.
1.5.
Yeah, it's probably the lowest I've given so far, but
No,
yeah.
I think we gave a 0.5 on the first.
Oh, to Latifi, yeah, who crashed twice on the weekend. Yeah, all right, that was worse.
Verstappen.
Verstappen was doing okay. He did as good as he could until he ended out of the race. He didn't have the fastest pace imaginable. It just seems like he was reliably faster than Perez. I'm gonna give him I don't know, between a 4 and a 3.5. Probably a 4.
Perez.
Perez was not very impressive. I don't know. He ended up second, so you can't complain too much because he did what he needed to do, and he passed the Mercedes and he stayed ahead. But he didn't look like the entire weekend didn't look like he was like all that much faster than Verstappen. He didn't do anything. I'll give him a 4. I'll give him 4 to be nice.
Same as Verstappen.
Yeah, I think so. It'll be weird to give him less, but it would also be weird to give Verstappen
Yeah, it
less.
seems like Perez actually matched Verstappen's like pace throughout the weekend.
Yeah, he stayed close enough. And at some point of qualifying, it almost looked like Perez could have taken it, but
Yeah. Hamilton.
Hamilton did well,
He gets
but
screwed over by the safety car.
he did get screwed over by the safety car, and he was actually I could have seen him fighting closer to Perez at the end there. Unfortunately, that was not the case, and he got kind of stuck behind Russell too with fresher tires. I'm gonna give him. I'm also gonna give. I could give him a 4 or a 3.5. That is the thing. I'm gonna give Russell a 4 because I think Russell did really good. He didn't out qualify Hamilton, but he
He
kept the
got
place.
lucky with the safety car, but
He got lucky with the safety car, and he did as good as he could have in the weekend. So 4. But I think I'm also gonna give Hamilton a 4. I think Hamilton was, just kind of unlucky, but his racing was still fine, and he was fighting well with Perez.
Norris.
So it's kind of the same thing for Norris and Ricardo. They didn't make a lot of passes, but they did get some passes. They stayed faster than the other. I'll give Norris a 4 as well. And I'm going to give Ricardo a 3.5.
That they told Ricardo that he wasn't allowed to overtake Norris.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Norris was had an issue
know.
with the car, and then they told him like, "Hey, just be careful. Like, we're gonna keep the cars as they are." But yeah, just keep position. So
weird. That makes me kind of rethink, but also I didn't see him trying to make a move. He wasn't going that much faster, and he was out qualified. I'm still gonna give him a 3.5, even though it was his home race.
Alonso.
Oh, also an interesting one. So he crashed out in qualifying, which may or may not have been his fault. And then in the race, he did try a risky strategy, but then went on different tires, and then just started going backwards. Maybe he was driving too heavy or not taking care of the things. They all kept saying like, "Oh, he's got the pace," and he's when he was fifth place, he's like he should be fighting for even more. But I never really saw it. I'm gonna give him a 2.5. It could have been a 3 if he had maintained position at the end, but he didn't, and he just looked like he could have done a lot better all throughout.
Ocon.
Ocon did good, and he ended up with points, right? He ended up
Yeah, I think so.
with the most points ahead of Norris.
Best of the rest.
I think he might have been. I can't remember if he was, or I think he might have been behind Ricardo. He was either ahead or behind the McLarens.
So Ocon ended the race 7th behind the McLaren.
Behind the McLarens. He drove well. He finished. He finished the qualifying. He got some points. I'm gonna give him a 3.5. But he was never faster than Alonso per se. He just was in the right place at the right time. Bottas good. I'm gonna give him a 4. Good, really good. Outperforming the car, staying solid with the strategy, and making passes, making Gasly making mistakes, which is kind of rare. So good.
Joe.
He ended up with no points. He didn't get he didn't qualify his teammate, and also he ended up like 12. I think he had a chance at making some passes.
11,
because he was on Stroll there, but he couldn't make that pass on Stroll. I'm gonna give him a 3. Solid performance, but no problem. 3. A 3 is fine. 3 is fine.
Magnussen.
I wish it would have been better. And there was a point where I thought like, oh, he could make it happen. Maybe if he gets lucky with a safety car, but then he pitted, tried to overtake, but there wasn't more in the car. Unfortunately, just looked like the car wasn't that fast, but he didn't do bad. And I think he did better than Nick the entire weekend anyways. So I'm going to give him a 3. I think he's middle of the road. Not the best, but not the worst.
Schumacher.
He ended up ahead, right? He ended up ahead of
1 position ahead of Magnussen.
But he still didn't get points.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him a 2.5.
Sebastian Vettel.
It's hard to say. I'm gonna give him the set the 0.5. Not that it's all his fault. Not that it's not excuse, and that like he just hasn't has enough time to practice. But if you see that person driving, no matter who it is, you can't give him higher than like 0.5. Like he crashed on practice. He didn't qualify particularly well, and then he crashed in his race, completely unprompted. His own mistake. So.
Lance Stroll.
Probably a 2, because even though he finished the race, he wasn't fighting for a lot, and he crashed on his own on Q1. No, maybe a 1.5. I think a 1.5 is called for.
Albon,
great. I'll give him a 4.5. I would have given him the 5 out of 5 if he had finished the 7th, but or if he had finished higher than 10th. But 4.5, I think, is a very good weekend for him. It's not like he qualified particularly high.
You think that Leclerc deserved driver of the day, or you think Albon deserved?
Oh no, I think Leclerc for sure. I mean, there's no question about it, in my mind. But I think Albon being so good, he did well, but he got kind of lucky with the safety car. He just made it work, and he remained with the position, but it was kind of luck at the end. I don't know if he would have been able to make all those passes, to 10th place from like
without the safety car.
Yeah, but he maintained it. So good. I'll give him a 4.5. Latifi crashing qualifying and then didn't do anything in the race. I'll give him like a 2.
Gasly
actually did good, but then he made a mistake and lost the position at the end. Like he went on the grass, and ultimately it could have been worse. His driving, his qualifying wasn't particularly good or impressive. I'm gonna give him a 3. I think a 3 is good enough for him, even though it could have been higher, but like that mistake was kind of a little shunt there.
And Yuki,
I'll give him a 2. He was not a headline, this guy. Like he just wasn't anywhere.
Okay, so with that in mind, we have the winner of the race, Charles,
Mhm.
right? We have on second position Albon,
Bono.
and then you have a five-way tie for the third position in the podium of the Formula One World Drivers Championship. You have Verstappen, Perez, Hamilton, Russell, and Norris, actually a six-way tie, and Bottas. Who gets the podium?
Oof, I don't know. Okay, okay. Same again from the beginning.
So there's both Red Bulls, right?
Yes, both Red Bulls.
Verstappen and Perez. It's
Yes.
both Mercedes,
Mhm.
Hamilton and Russell. And then you have Norris and Bottas.
I guess I'm gonna go with track position on this, just to be kind of fair. So I'm only thinking whether I should give Bottas more for like being better, that like outperforming the car a little bit. I'm gonna give it to Perez first. Then
Perez gets third.
yes, then Russell, then Hamilton.
Okay.
Probably let me see. Probably Bottas, then Norris. No. Probably Norris than Bottas, because Norris at the end of the day he out qualified Ricardo and he also ended up higher. So
And Verstappen.
I'm Verstappen last. Yeah.
Damn, Verstappen losing points in all the championships here.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then for 9th and 10th position, you have a two-way tie. How convenient.
Mhm.
Between Daniel Ricciardo and Esteban Ocon.
Well, Ocon outraced his teammate and got good points. He couldn't get past Albon though, which is kind of strange to me. That like if you're behind Albon, you're in 8th place and you can't pass him. You're telling me that like him on older tires would have beaten you? Like it's a little bizarre, especially because he was in such a fast car, the Alpines. So I'm gonna give it to Ricardo and Ocon lost.
Okay, so that's our top 10.
Yes.
So last thing we got to talk about here is Imola.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just
next weekend.
I guess we can talk about that next week. I mean, there's a week in between, so we can always talk about the hype. But I'm pretty hyped for it.
There's a sprint race.
Yes, I think it's gonna be. Oh, there's a sprint race in this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, we can talk about that next week for sure. But I think it's gonna be a Ferrari 1-2 again. I sort of smelled it, and I think this time I'm gonna lean towards Leclerc. It's a little bit early to make predictions, but that's my first sort of sense of what's gonna happen. It should, like I said last weekend, this was easy money, Australia for Ferrari, and it kind of was. Sainz fucked it up, but the Ferraris were certainly fast. So I'm gonna say that the same thing for Imola. It's more turny. I could see the Red Bulls being competitive as well, but for now, I think Ferraris are favored, and I'm predicting another Leclerc victory.
Leclerc victory in Italy.
Yes, and he also performed so good for Italians. Like he's doing the Italians good. So so yeah.
All right.
All right.
That's it. We finished.
Very good. Thanks everybody for watching. We appreciate any disagreements in the comments. And yeah,
These are our hot takes.
See you next time.
Peace.